Welcome to Simply About Earth. Before we begin tonight's journey, I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Which country, which city, or maybe even which quiet little corner of the world are you in right now? Leave a comment below because I always find it so wonderful to see people from every part of our planet gathering here to listen, to dream, and to drift into sleep together. Now let's begin. Find a comfortable position. Allow your body to sink gently into rest. Close your eyes if you like, and let the sounds of the world around you fade. You are here now, and together we are going to take a journey through space, through time, and through possibility. Imagine the sky above you tonight, clear, endless, filled with stars that shine like distant lanterns hung in the blackness. They look so still, so unmoving, yet each one is a sun, blazing, alive, ancient and powerful. Between those suns lies the greatest emptiness we know, interstellar space. A place colder than imagination, darker than any night, wider than any ocean. And somewhere out there, drifting silently for millions, maybe billions of years, is a visitor. An object born not here, not near our sun, not even in the neighborhood of our planets, but in another star system altogether. Its name, at least the one we have given it, is 3I/Atelas. 3I marks it as the third confirmed interstellar object ever discovered. Atlas is the name of the telescope survey that first spotted it, a network of vigilant eyes watching the sky for anything unusual, anything approaching, anything that might one day pose a danger to our little blue world. But 3I/Atelas was not a danger when it was discovered. It was a mystery, a fragment of another place, another time, wandering the darkness between the stars. Now imagine, with me, what it would be like if such an object were to enter our solar system, not simply pass through quickly as others before it have, but glide inward deeper, drawn perhaps by the faint pull of gravity from our sun, or nudged by an encounter long ago with another star. Tonight, together, we will picture that scenario. Not with fear, but with wonder. What would happen if 3I/Atelas entered our solar system? Picture first its long journey. Long before our planet even existed, long before the sun ignited, this icy body may have formed around another star. Perhaps it circled its parent sun in the icy reaches, far beyond the warmth where life might grow. Perhaps it was one of countless such fragments in that distant system, orbiting quietly, unseen. Then, one day, some great event disturbed it. Maybe a passing star's gravity tugged it free. Maybe a giant planet in its home system kicked it outward. Whatever the cause, it was cast into the endless dark. And there, for eons, it traveled, alone, untouched, unchanged, a frozen witness to the birth and death of stars, a relic carrying secrets about the chemistry of worlds we will never see, a time capsule adrift in the dark sea between suns. Now, at last, imagine it approaching us. At first, no one would know. Out there in the darkness, it would be invisible to the human eye. Only the most sensitive telescopes could pick it up. A faint moving point against the background stars. Astronomers would measure its motion night after night and realize this is no ordinary comet, no asteroid from our own solar system. Its speed, its path, its origin, all reveal the truth. This is an interstellar visitor. And what then? Slowly, as weeks pass, it grows brighter. As it nears the sun, the ice on its surface begins to warm, releasing vapor into space. A coma, a glowing halo of gas and dust, forms around it. A tail stretches behind, illuminated by sunlight. To the naked eye, it becomes visible as a faint smudge in the night sky. People all over the world would step outside, look up and see it, a messenger from beyond. Perhaps you, lying there in your bed tonight, would one day stand outside and gaze up at it. You might point it out to a friend or whisper to yourself, that glow up there that's not from here, that's a piece of another world. The beauty of it would be undeniable. Comets have always stirred awe in those who witness them. Our ancestors saw them as omens, as messages from the heavens, Today we see them as science, as natural phenomena, but the awe is no less real. A comet from another star, that is something few have ever even dared to imagine. But of course, there would also be questions. What is it made of? How old is it? What can it tell us about the building blocks of life? Could it pose a threat to us? In truth, the chance of collision would be unimaginably small. Space is wide, Earth is tiny, and most objects that pass through our system slip harmlessly away. Yet still, astronomers would calculate, model, predict. Every night, new data would refine its path, and every headline would remind us of the visitor above. But for most of us, it would not be fear that we feel, it would be perspective. To look up at that glowing streak in the sky and know it has travelled across the galaxy to pass above our heads, that is a humbling thought. It reminds us that Earth, vast though it feels to us, is small in the scale of the cosmos. Our solar system itself is only a speck in a much larger sea. And so, the arrival of 3I/Atlas would be not just a scientific event, but a human one. People across nations, across languages would share in it. Photographs, telescope images, personal stories, a global moment of quiet unity beneath the same sky. As you rest now, listening, picture that scene. The night air cool, the sky deep and infinite, and above, the faint glow of a comet not from here but from the stars beyond. A silent reminder that we are part of something greater, something endless, something both mysterious and beautiful. Close your eyes a little more deeply now. Slow your breathing. Imagine the stars moving above you, the comet drifting closer, and the world turning gently beneath it. Tonight, in this story, we are safe. We are witnesses, not victims. We are observers of wonder, not chaos. For this is only the beginning of the story. The visitor has arrived, its path is set, and its journey through our solar system is only just beginning. Through the outer gates. The journey begins far away, in the quietest reaches of our solar system. Out there, where the warmth of the sun is no more than a distant memory, lies a realm of ice and silence. It is called the Oort cloud, a vast sphere of icy fragments surrounding us like a ghostly halo. These icy bodies are relics of the early solar system, drifting for billions of years on the edge of interstellar space. Now into this silent borderland comes 3I/Atlas. The interstellar visitor glides inward, a faint shadow against the black. Unlike the comets of the Oort cloud, it does not belong here. Its path is straighter, faster, its speed too high to be bound by the sun's pull alone. It is not a prisoner of our star. It is only a guest passing through. As it crosses the invisible threshold, sunlight, weak though it may be at such distances, begins to touch it. Imagine the surface of 3I/Atlas, frozen, ancient, marked by the scars of time. For countless ages it has drifted in the cold, its ices locked in place, untouched. Now slowly molecules of gas stir within. Hydrogen, carbon monoxide, perhaps even organic compounds, begin to awaken. It is a distant stirring, the first breath of a traveller who has been silent for far too long. Telescopes on Earth would watch carefully. The James Webb Space Telescope, stationed far from the interference of Earth's atmosphere, would focus on it. Analyzing its faint glow, scientists would be eager, for this is not just another comet. This is a sample of another star system's chemistry, preserved and delivered across the stars. Each molecule released from its surface tells a story about how it formed, what materials surrounded it, and what kind of sun once warmed its nursery. But for now, to the naked eye, nothing would be visible. The visitor is still far away, too faint for ordinary stargazers to see. Only the astronomers know of it, and they whisper with excitement, sharing data, refining predictions. Its trajectory is measured again and again. Its orbit modeled by supercomputers. Slowly, a clearer picture emerges of where it is headed. And that path carries it toward the outer planets, toward Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These are the guardians of our solar system, giants whose gravity shapes the fates of countless comets and asteroids. First comes Neptune. Far from the sun, cold and blue, Neptune circles in darkness. Its faint winds whisper across an atmosphere filled with methane clouds. Few objects come close enough to disturb its lonely reign. Yet 3I/ATLAS passes by, distant, silent. The giant planet tugs at it gently, altering its course by only the smallest degree. To us it is imperceptible, but over the millions of kilometers to come, that nudge matters. It is the first handshake, the first interaction between the visitor and the planets of our sun. Next lies Uranus, tilted strangely on its side, rolling through its orbit like a marble tipped over. Here too the gravity of the giant stirs the path of the comet ever so slightly. Each encounter changes the story. Each planet acts as a host, guiding the visitor onward. But it is Jupiter that will decide the fate of 3I/Atlas. The king of planets, vast and powerful, Jupiter holds sway over much of our solar system. Its gravity is like a net, capable of capturing comets, flinging them outward, or pulling them inward toward the inner worlds. As 3I/Atlas approaches the region where Jupiter's influence dominates, astronomers hold their breath. Will Jupiter bend its path inward toward the sun, toward Earth and Mars and Venus? Will it sling the comet away, out into space once more, sending it back to the darkness from which it came? Or will it, in a rare and delicate balance, simply guide it past, letting it drift unharmed through the system? Here the story could branch in many ways. Imagine the first Jupiter captures it, 3I/ATLAS. Once an interstellar wanderer becomes bound, caught in the gravity of our sun. No longer just a visitor, it becomes a citizen of the solar system, destined to orbit for millennia to come. Future generations would look up at its return, decade after decade, century after century, a reminder of the day the stars sent us a gift. Or picture another. Jupiter slings it inward, directing it toward the heart of the solar system. As it draws closer to the sun, the heat intensifies, ices burst into gas, dust streams outward, its coma grows bright, its tail stretches long across the sky. People on Earth look up and see it, a glowing traveler from another world. All spreads, photographs are taken, and stories are told. For weeks, for months, it graces the skies, a symbol of mystery and beauty. And then, of course, there is the smallest but most dramatic possibility that its path might carry it too close to Earth. Astronomers would calculate, refine, calculate again. The chances would be tiny, almost negligible, yet the possibility would capture the imagination of millions. For a comet from another star striking our world, that would be an event unlike any in history. But let us not dwell there yet. For now, the visitor simply moves on, past Neptune, past Uranus, towards Saturn with its rings shimmering in pale sunlight. Imagine for a moment the sight, a comet drifting past the jewel of the solar system, its faint tail stretching against the backdrop of icy rings. No human eye would see this directly, but space probes, if they were near, could capture it. Images would be sent back to Earth, and we would look upon them with wonder. Saturn, too, tugs gently, another nudge, another shift in the grand cosmic dance, and onward 3I/Atlas goes, towards Jupiter, the true gatekeeper. On Earth, anticipation grows. The media begin to cover the story more widely. Interstellar comet approaching. The headlines read. People begin to ask questions. What does it mean? Is it dangerous? Will we see it in the sky? And scientists answer, with calm voices, with data, with wonder. This is an opportunity, they say. This is a chance to study material from beyond our solar system. This is a glimpse into the chemistry of other stars. This is knowledge drifting to us freely from the cosmos itself. And as those words spread, people step outside at night and look up. The stars, the moon, the faint arc of the Milky Way. They do not see 3I/ATLAS yet, but they know it is there on its way, and that knowledge alone makes the sky feel larger, deeper, more mysterious. So tonight, as you listen, imagine yourself there. You are standing in a quiet place. The night is calm. Above you, Jupiter gleams brightly, the largest planet in our skies, and somewhere near it, faint, unseen for now, the visitor drifts closer. 3I/Atlas, the stranger from the stars, moving slowly, silently, through the gates of the outer planets, toward the heart of our solar system. Its story is only beginning. The gatekeeper of worlds. In the darkness of space, the visitor continues its path. 3I/Atlas drifts silently inward, carried not by choice, not by will, but by the ancient momentum set long ago when it was cast from its home star system. It has travelled for ages through the emptiness between the stars, and now it finds itself in the domain of giants. Before it lies Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system, the gatekeeper, the king. To understand what happens next, we must understand Jupiter itself. Imagine a world more than 11 times wider than Earth, so massive that it could contain more than 1,000 Earths inside. It is not a rocky planet like our own. It is a world of gas, swirling clouds of hydrogen and helium, endless storms, and a core of crushing pressure. From Earth, when you look up at night, Jupiter appears as one of the brightest points in the sky. Through even a small telescope you can see its 4 great moons, Io, Europa, Ganymede and Callisto, dancing around it like a miniature solar system. But out here, from the perspective of 3I/Atlas, Jupiter is no small light in the sky. It is a looming giant, its gravity stretching across millions of kilometers, pulling, shaping, bending the paths of objects that dare to pass nearby. As the comet approaches, Jupiter begins to exert its influence. To us, this is invisible, a matter of mathematics and momentum, but in truth, it is like a conversation. The visitor from another star meets the great guardian of our own, and the two exchange a greeting in the language of gravity. Astronomers on Earth would watch closely. Every movement of 3I/Atlas would be charted, every deviation from its path measured and studied. The closer it comes to Jupiter, the more its fate is tied to that immense pull. There are several possibilities. The first, and perhaps the most common, is that Jupiter simply bends its path slightly. The comet swings around the planet's invisible gravitational field and continues on, its trajectory altered, but its journey undisturbed. This has happened countless times before, with comets and asteroids that enter our system. Jupiter is both protector and warden, sometimes flinging dangerous objects back into deep space, sometimes capturing them, and sometimes directing them inward toward the sun. The second possibility is capture. If conditions are just right, if its speed and angle align in a precise balance, 3I/Atlas could become trapped. Imagine that a comet born around another star wandering the galaxy for eons, only to be caught at last by the sun, becoming part of our solar system's family. Its orbit might be long and stretched, taking centuries to return, but from that moment on, it would no longer be an interstellar visitor. It would be one of us. Future generations would look up, knowing its glow in the sky is not just another comet but a traveler from beyond, now bound to the warmth of our sun forever. The third possibility is more dramatic. If Jupiter's pull is strong enough, it could fling the comet inward, sending it on a trajectory closer to the inner planets, toward Mars, toward Venus, and perhaps toward Earth. The probability of this outcome is very small. Space is vast, and Earth is a tiny target, but still, the calculations would be made, the probabilities checked again and again. Even a 1 in a million chance would capture the world's imagination. And then there is the final possibility, that Jupiter's gravity acts like a slingshot, hurling 3I/Atlas back outward, away from the sun, sending it once again into the dark between the stars. If this happened, the comet's visit would be brief, fleeting, a chance for us to glimpse, to study, and then to say goodbye. It would leave our solar system as quietly as it arrived, a whisper in the night, disappearing into the eternal dark once more. But let us stay with the moment of approach. Imagine 3I/Atlas sweeping past Jupiter to the human eye. From Earth it would be too far to see the details, but in our minds, let us picture it. A faintly glowing comet, its tail stretching millions of kilometers behind it, passing the swirling storms of Jupiter. The great red spot, a storm larger than Earth itself, turns slowly, endlessly, as it has for centuries. Lightning flashes in the upper clouds. The four great moons orbit in silence, their frozen surfaces gleaming faintly in the reflected sunlight. For a brief time, the comet and the planet share the same sky. Two travelers of different origins, one bound to the sun, the other free from any star, crossing paths in the vastness of space. On Earth, this would be a time of intense observation. Every telescope, every instrument would be focused on the event. Scientists would study the interaction, measuring how Jupiter's pull changes the comet's course. Amateur astronomers, too, would point their telescopes upward, capturing images of the faint streak of light as it continues its inward journey. For many, it would be the first time they had seen something truly interstellar with their own eyes. And beyond the science, there would be the wonder for people lying in bed, listening to stories like this, or stepping outside in the quiet of the night to look up at the stars. The knowledge itself would be enough, to know that above us, at that very moment, a comet from another star system is passing the giant of our solar system. That alone is humbling. It is a reminder of how vast the universe is, and how small we are within it. Jupiter, in many ways, is the shield of Earth. Its gravity protects us, capturing or redirecting many of the comets and asteroids that might otherwise pose a threat. Without Jupiter, life on Earth might have faced far more frequent catastrophes. Tonight, in this story, Jupiter plays its ancient role again, guiding the visitor, shaping its path, deciding its fate. And so, 3I/Atlas swings past, its journey altered, its destiny entwined with the forces of the giants. Whether it continues inward or is sent outward again, it has left its mark. It has joined the story of our solar system, however briefly, adding another thread to the tapestry of cosmic encounters. Now, imagine yourself lying under the stars, perhaps on a warm summer night. The sky is clear, the air still. Above you, Jupiter shines brightly, a beacon in the dark. And though you cannot see it with your eyes, you know that somewhere near that bright planet, an interstellar traveler is passing by. A comet older than Earth itself, from a star you will never see, drifting silently through the night. In that thought, there is peace. There is perspective. There is the sense that we are part of something much larger, something endless, something beautiful. The visitor moves on. Its course is set, and its journey toward the inner solar system, toward the sun itself, is only just beginning. Toward the inner planets. The moment has passed. 3I/Atlas has brushed near Jupiter's domain, and the giant has left its mark. The visitor's path is altered now, ever so slightly, but enough to change its story forever. With the gentle but powerful tug of gravity, Jupiter has nudged the comet inward, guiding it toward the brighter, warmer regions of the solar system. Now it drifts onward. The sun, still a pale but growing presence, shines stronger with each passing million kilometers. For the first time in untold ages, heat begins to seep into the frozen body of 3I/Atlas. The ice that has remained locked for eons begins to stir. Gases, once trapped deep within, start to rise. Cracks form across its surface. Tiny jets of vapor burst forth into space, carrying with them grains of dust. To us, this is the birth of beauty. The faint haze around the comet grows, expanding into a glowing coma, a sphere of gas and dust surrounding the solid nucleus. Sunlight catches the particles, making the comet brighter than ever before, and a solar wind pushes against it. A tail begins to stretch away, pointing always opposite the sun. This is the moment when 3I/A/Tellus becomes not just an invisible traveler but a spectacle. On Earth, telescopes record the changes. Scientists measure the gases in the coma, identifying carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, perhaps even complex organics, the building blocks of life itself. Each molecule tells a story of a different star system, a different chemistry, a different beginning. It is like receiving a sample from across the galaxy, delivered directly to our doorstep. But for ordinary people, the story is written in the sky. As weeks pass, the comet grows brighter. Soon it becomes visible even without a telescope, a faint, ghostly glow rising in the east before dawn. Those who wake early, who step outside into the cool morning air, notice it. A streak of light, delicate and mysterious, hanging above the horizon. Conversations begin. News stories spread. Images circulate online. Photographs of a glowing tail stretching across the stars. For many, this is their first direct connection to the vast universe beyond, not through science, not through data, but through sight, through wonder. Children point to it. Parents tell stories, and strangers gather in parks and fields to watch. Meanwhile, 3I/Atlas continues its journey inward. Ahead lies Mars, the red planet, shining faintly in the night sky. From the perspective of the comet, Mars is a small world, rocky, silent, with thin air and ancient scars carved by long-gone rivers. If its path carries it close, astronomers will watch eagerly. Spacecraft orbiting Mars may even capture images of the visitor. Another perspective on the journey. For a moment, human machines and alien ice share the same sky. But the comet does not linger. Its speed carries it onward past Mars's orbit and toward the inner sanctum of the solar system. Here the sun grows hotter, brighter. The tail lengthens, streaming behind it for millions of kilometers. At night, from Earth, it becomes a spectacle too large to ignore. People who have never looked at the stars before now gaze upward in awe. It becomes the talk of cities and villages alike, a shared experience, a shared sky. And with this beauty comes the whisper of unease. What if? What if its path brings it closer still? What if, against the odds, it intersects with Earth's orbit? Astronomers calculate again and again, reassuring the world that the probability remains low. Yet the question lingers, a quiet echo in the minds of many. Not fear, not panic, but curiosity tinged with the awareness of our fragility. For now, though, it remains a spectacle only, a glowing visitor sweeping through the solar system, seen by billions of eyes. In every country, in every language, people share the same view, the same moment. It is a reminder that while we live in different places, under different skies, the universe above is shared by all. Now picture this moment as you rest. Imagine stepping outside on a cool night. The air is still, the ground soft beneath your feet. Above you, stars scatter across the sky, and among them is a glowing streak, the tail of 3I/Atlas, stretching impossibly far, like a brushstroke painted across the heavens. You stand there quietly, breathing slowly, feeling the calm of the night. The comet is silent, the world is still, and for a moment everything feels timeless. The visitor drifts onward, past Mars, past the orbit of Earth's moon, toward the inner system where Venus circles, where Mercury hugs close to the sun. Its path is set now. It will either pass harmlessly, a wonder to behold, or it will stir deeper questions, drawing closer, raising the possibility, however small, of encounter. But tonight, as you rest, it is not danger that matters. It is beauty. It is the thought that something so old, so distant, so alien could pass above our heads, visible to all who care to look. It is the reminder that even in the vastness of the universe, moments of connection can happen, linking the stars to the human heart. The visitor has entered the realm of the inner planets. Its brightest days are still ahead, and the story of what comes next is only just beginning. The visitor in our sky. Night after night, the visitor grows brighter. 3. I/ATLS, once nothing more than a faint dot in a telescope, has now become a spectacle that even the most casual observer cannot miss. It glows in the heavens like a lantern, its tail stretching for millions of kilometers, its coma shimmering faintly with reflected sunlight. On Earth, people begin to notice. At first, it is the stargazers, the enthusiasts who scan the skies regularly. They share their photographs, faint at first but unmistakable, a misty glow, a streak against the stars. Then, as the comet comes closer, the images spread. Soon, ordinary people walking home at night or looking out of their windows begin to see it too. There's a new star, some say, but it is not a star. It is a traveler, a visitor from another system, now becoming part of our shared human sky. Imagine that moment. Perhaps you are sitting by a window, the world quiet around you. You glance upward, and there it is, a pale, ghostly streak cutting across the darkness. At first you doubt your eyes, but then you see it again and again, night after night, growing brighter each time. Something inside you stirs. You realize you are looking at an object that has traveled across the galaxy, older than all of human history, now passing silently above your head. Around the world, conversations bloom. Children ask their parents about it. Teachers point it out to students. News anchors mention it at the end of broadcasts. A note of wonder among the noise of daily life. If you look up tonight, they say, you'll see the comet 3I/Atlas glowing in the eastern sky before dawn. And with this attention comes awe, for in a world often divided by borders and boundaries, the sky offers something shared, no matter where you stand in a crowded city, on a quiet farm by the ocean, or in the mountains. The visitor is there, visible to all. It unites us, however briefly, in wonder. But with awe also comes unease. The question grows louder. What if? What if its path changes? What if it comes too close? Astronomers reassure the public that the probability of impact is vanishingly small, that Earth is safe, that this is a gift of wonder, not a threat. Still, the thought lingers in the imagination. Humans have always looked at comets with a mixture of beauty and fear. To our ancestors, they were omens, warnings of change, of upheaval, of endings and beginnings. Today we know better, yet deep within, the echo of that ancient unease remains. Meanwhile, the science continues. Telescopes capture spectra of its light, analyzing the composition of its gases. Observatories measure the dust streaming from its surface. Probes in space, if close enough, might even divert to study it more directly, sending back images of its nucleus. A dark, rugged block of ice and rock, scarred by time, venting streams of gas into the void. To scientists, this is priceless data, a glimpse into the chemistry of another star system, carried to us free of charge by the vast currents of space. But for you, lying in bed, listening now, it is not data that matters. It is the vision. Imagine yourself stepping outside at night. The air is cool, the world quiet. Above you, the comet blazes, its tail stretching across the sky like a river of light. You stand there, breathing slowly, your thoughts drifting with the stars. You know you are safe, that this is only a story, but the feeling of wonder is real. The universe feels closer, more intimate, more alive. Night after night, 3I/Atlas draws nearer, its brightness increases, until it rivals the planets in the sky. Some nights, it can be seen with ease, its glow cutting across the constellations. People gather in fields and city rooftops alike, pointing, whispering, marveling. Social media fills with images. Poets write, musicians compose, painters create. The comet is not just a scientific event now, it has become a cultural one, an inspiration, a reminder of our place in the cosmos. And always, the question persists, how close will it come? The answer, refined again and again by astronomers, grows clearer with each passing day. Its trajectory is charted, its path modeled. the world listens. The probability of a collision remains vanishingly small, but even so, the story captivates us, as stories of the heavens always have. Now, let us imagine its closest approach. The visitor sweeps past Earth's orbit, not striking, but passing close enough to become one of the brightest comets in recorded history. The night sky glows with its light. For weeks, perhaps months, it dominates the heavens. Children will remember it for the rest of their lives. Adults will pause in their busy routines to look upward. Entire cities will share in the experience, people stopping to point, to marvel, to feel small yet connected. From space, astronauts aboard the International Space Station would see it too, a vast tail stretching beyond the horizon, a luminous river cutting across the darkness. They would photograph it, record it, and share it with the world below. Humanity together would witness the passing of a star-born traveler. And as it moves past, as it begins to recede once more into the depths of space, the awe remains. The visitor has given us a gift, not of material but of perspective. It has reminded us that we are not alone in the universe, that the stars are not silent, that even in the vast emptiness between suns, there are travelers, messengers, wanderers. Perhaps in the distant future, humans will send ships outward across the gulf between stars. Perhaps we will follow in the path of 3I/ATLAS, becoming wanderers ourselves. But for now we are witnesses. We watch, we wonder, we dream. As you lie here, drifting into rest, imagine the comet passing above, silent and beautiful, a glowing arc across the night. Let the thought bring you calm. Let it remind you of the vastness of the cosmos, and of your small but precious place within it. The story is not over. The visitor still has far to go. But for tonight, in this moment, you are safe, you are calm, and the stars are watching over you. Into the light of the sun, the visitor continues its silent journey. Each passing day brings it closer to the heart of the solar system, where the sun blazes with relentless fire. From the cold outer reaches where its ices lay dormant, 3I/ATLAS has travelled far. Now at last it nears the place where comets become most alive, most beautiful and most fragile. Imagine its surface, dark and ancient, a mix of rock and frozen gas. As it approaches the sun, the heat intensifies, temperatures rise, ices buried for billions of years awaken. Water vapor begins to escape in great plumes. Carbon dioxide bursts outward. Dust follows, forming a shimmering halo around the nucleus. This halo, the coma, now glows brilliantly, lit by sunlight, a luminous sphere surrounding the comet's heart. The solar wind, a stream of charged particles flowing endlessly from the sun, collides with this cloud of gas and dust. The result is a tail, or rather two tails, one of dust, curved and golden, reflecting the light of the sun, and one of ionized gas, straight and blue, glowing faintly with the signature of particles interacting with solar energy. Both tails stretch millions of kilometers into space, longer than the distance between Earth and the Moon. From Earth, the sight is breathtaking. Night after night, the comet grows brighter until it dominates the sky. It is no longer a faint smudge. It is a radiant streak, larger than any star, brighter even than most planets. People gather to watch, in parks, on rooftops, by the sea. They point upward, their conversations hushed, their faces lit by starlight and comet light alike. For a brief time, the world is united in wonder. Meanwhile, astronomers record every detail. They measure the composition of its gases, the size of its dust grains, the structure of its nucleus. For them, this is more than beauty. It is knowledge, a sample of another star system, analyzed from afar in laboratories on Earth. Researchers compare the data to comets of our own solar system. They search for differences, for hints of alien chemistry. Does this comet contain more carbon, different isotopes of hydrogen, clues about where and how it was formed? Each measurement is a puzzle piece, a step toward understanding worlds beyond our reach. Yet even as scientists measure, artists are inspired, poems are written about the comet, songs are sung, paintings and photographs capture its glow. For in the end, the visitor is more than an object of study. It is a reminder of mystery. It is proof that the universe is larger, older, and richer than we often remember. As the days pass, 3I/Atlas reaches perihelion, its closest point to the Sun. Here the heat is at its peak. The nucleus, small though it may be compared to worlds and stars, endures immense stress. Jets of gas erupt, venting in every direction. Pieces of ice and rock fracture away. Some comets at this stage disintegrate entirely, torn apart by the Sun's heat and gravity. For 3I/Atlas, the outcome is uncertain. If it holds together, it will blaze brilliantly, brighter than ever, a torch in the sky. If it fragments, the pieces will scatter, each one forming its own tail, creating a celestial display even more spectacular, but also fleeting. Astronomers debate, observe, and wait. The world too waits, watching the skies. Imagine yourself in that moment. You are standing outside, perhaps in the stillness before dawn. The eastern horizon glows faintly, not from the sun but from the comet. It rises above the horizon like a phantom, its tail stretching across half the sky. Birds stir. The air is cool. You stand quietly, watching, your thoughts adrift. For a moment the vastness of time and space presses gently on your heart, not with fear, but with wonder. You are part of this story. You are alive in a time when such beauty is possible. From space, the view is even more astonishing. Probes orbiting near the Sun capture images of the comet against the blazing backdrop. The tails shimmer like ribbons of light. The coma glows like a jewel. The Sun, unyielding and eternal, lights the stage, and the comet performs its brief radiant dance. For the comet, though, this is both triumph and trial. The Sun is both giver of beauty and destroyer of form. The intense heat may strip away much of its mass. It may weaken its core, leaving it fragile for the journey outward, or it may simply endure, scarred but intact, ready to continue. On Earth, people continue to watch. Some make wishes on it, as though it were a shooting star frozen in place. Others photograph it, night after night, compiling memories of its passing. Parents lift their children to see, telling them, "This is special, you may never see something like this again." And perhaps they are right. Interstellar comets are rare, and to witness one so bright, so close, is a gift of timing. And then, slowly, the moment passes. Perihelion comes and goes. The comet, whether whole or fragmented, begins to move away from the Sun. Its brilliance lingers for a while, but slowly, inevitably, it will fade. Yet even in fading, it leaves a mark. For those who saw it, it will remain in memory. For scientists, it will remain in data and discovery. For artists, it will remain in inspiration. And for humanity as a whole, it will remain a reminder of our place in the cosmos. So tonight, as you rest, imagine the comet at its peak, blazing near the Sun, its tails stretching across the heavens. Imagine the quiet awe of those who watched, the joy of those who shared the moment, the stillness of the world beneath the stars, and let that vision carry you into calm. For though the visitor may fade, the wonder it brings will linger forever. The story continues. 3I/Atlas will begin its long path outward, back toward the dark, carrying with it the scars of its encounter with the Sun, and leaving behind a memory written in the skies of Earth. The long goodbye. The closest moment has passed. 3I/Atlas has swept near the Sun, endured its fire, and emerged once more into the open sky. For weeks it blazed with brilliance, its twin tails stretching like cosmic banners across the heavens. Now, slowly, its light begins to dim. The visitor is turning away. Its orbit carries it outward, back toward the cool dark where comets live only in silence. But though the comet begins to fade, its presence lingers in the minds of those who saw it. For humanity, its passing was more than an astronomical event. It was an encounter with something older than Earth, a reminder of the scale of the universe, a rare chance to witness the beauty of a visitor from beyond. Imagine the scene on Earth. The comet still glows, but faintly now. It rises later in the night, lower on the horizon. Fewer people notice it at first glance, though those who know where to look can still find it. Amateur astronomers, dedicated and patient, continue to track it. They photograph its fading tail, knowing these will be some of the last images they ever capture of an interstellar traveler. For the scientists, the work is not finished. Even as the comet dims, it continues to release gas and dust. Instruments record its spectrum, analyzing the fingerprints of molecules within. Data flows in from observatories around the world, from space telescopes, from radio dishes listening for faint signals in the cold. Every fragment of information is precious. Each number, each image, each graph is a clue about another star system, another time, another world. In universities and research centers, scientists begin to piece together the puzzle. They compare the composition of 3I/Attilas to comets from our own solar system. They find similarities: water ice, carbon compounds, dust grains, but they also find differences: ratios of isotopes that hint at a star born in a different region of the galaxy, molecules that formed in conditions unlike those of our sun's nursery. In these details lies the story of a star we may never see, a system we may never know, but one that has reached us in the form of a comet. Meanwhile, among the public, the comet becomes memory. People who saw it speak of it with quiet wonder. "Do you remember when the sky was lit with that great tail of light?" they ask. Parents tell their children, "You were little, but you saw it, a comet from another star." Photographs remain, images captured by phones and cameras spread across the world. Artists paint its glow, writers describe its beauty. Songs and poems linger in the culture, inspired by a visitor who stayed only briefly. Even as it fades, 3I/Attilas continues to connect us, for in its passing, it gave us a shared moment beneath the sky, a reminder that above all the noise of our daily lives, there is a cosmos vast and mysterious waiting to be seen. Now imagine the comet itself, drifting outward. Its coma shrinks as the sunlight weakens, its tails grow faint, particles of dust falling away, scattering into space. The nucleus, scarred by heat, fractured in places, turns slowly in the dark. It has survived its encounter with the sun, but it is changed. Some of its mass is gone forever, vaporized and scattered into the solar wind. What remains continues its journey outward, smaller, quieter, but still moving, still ancient, still on its path. Ahead lies the realm of the outer planets. Once more, Jupiter and Saturn gleam faintly in the distance, the guardians of the solar system, but this time their pull is weaker. The comet has passed through once already, and now its trajectory carries it away. Perhaps Jupiter will tug at it one last time, bending its course slightly, but the visitor is destined for freedom. It is moving too fast, carrying too much momentum. It will not be captured. It will not remain. Instead, it will slip away, past Neptune, past the Oort cloud, back into the deep black of interstellar space. There it will continue its lonely journey, crossing light years in silence. Perhaps one day, it will pass through another star system. Perhaps another world far away will look up and see it as we did. Or perhaps it will drift forever, unseen, a relic of the galaxy's history, a fragment of a story without end. And what of us? For us, its passing leaves lessons. It reminds us of our fragility. It shows us the importance of watching the skies, of understanding the cosmos. It teaches us that the universe is not empty but filled with wanderers, with fragments of other stars, with messages written in ice and dust. It also reminds us of beauty, for in a time when the world often feels fractured, divided, hurried, a comet can bring stillness. It can bring people together under the same sky. if only for a moment, it can inspire us to pause, to breathe, to look beyond ourselves, to dream. So tonight, as you rest, imagine 3I/Etelas fading slowly in the sky. Imagine it drifting farther each night, growing dimmer, smaller, until at last it disappears from view. And as it goes, imagine the silence it leaves behind, a silence filled not with absence, but with memory, with perspective, with awe. The visitor is leaving. Its time here is nearly over, but its story is not finished. For stories like this do not truly end. They echo in science, in art, in memory, and in the quiet wonder of those who once looked up and saw a light from another star. And so we say goodbye, not with sorrow, but with gratitude. Gratitude for the beauty it gave us, for the questions it raised, for the reminder that the universe is vast, and that we are part of it. The long goodbye begins. The comet drifts outward, the earth turns beneath the stars, and the night remains calm. Sleep comes easily, carried on the thought of a traveller fading into the dark, leaving behind a world that will remember its passing for generations to come, fading into memory. The light is dimming now. The great flare of brightness that once stretched across our skies is softening, slipping away. Night after night, the comet grows fainter, its glow retreating into the black. 3I/Etelas has turned the corner of its journey. Perihelion has passed, and the long path outward has begun. Imagine it from the comet's perspective. If a comet could see or think or dream, the sun behind it, blazing, growing smaller each day. Ahead, the darkness of the outer solar system, the realm of giants and frozen silence. The coma, once brilliant and full, is shrinking now. The tails, those great banners of dust and gas, are thinning, dissolving into space. What remains is still beautiful, still luminous, but fragile, fading. On Earth, fewer people notice now. The casual stargazers who marveled weeks ago glance up and see nothing new. Only the dedicated continue to watch. Astronomers with their telescopes, photographers with their long exposures, dreamers with their patience, they know that though the visitor is dimming, it is still here, still writing its story across the night sky. And oh, what a story it has been. For scientists, the data continues to pour in. Reams of spectra, measurements of dust grains, maps of molecular compositions. In laboratories and observatories, the numbers are being compared, analyzed, debated. Differences emerge, strange isotopic ratios, molecules uncommon in our own comets, whispers of another star's nursery, another system's birth. Each discovery is a window, a crack in the darkness through which we glimpse a world we will never visit. 3I/Etelas is not just a comet, it is a messenger, a fragment of another place carrying secrets across the galaxy for billions of years, only to release them here briefly in the light of our sun. For ordinary people, though, the comet is something simpler and perhaps something deeper. It is memory. Those who saw it will remember forever how the night sky seemed alive with light, how strangers paused in the street to point upward, how for once in the rush of life there was something vast and beautiful to share. Children will remember holding their parents' hands, looking up, asking questions. Adults will remember late walks, quiet moments, wishes whispered to a streak of light across the stars. And so, even as it fades, the comet's presence lingers, not in the sky, but in us. Picture yourself now, standing in the cool night air. The comet is faint, barely visible, but you know it is there. You breathe slowly, deeply. You feel the quiet around you, the stillness of Earth turning beneath the stars, and in that stillness, the comet drifts outward away from the warmth, back toward the cold. You watch it, and though it grows fainter, the feeling remains. Wonder, connection, perspective. The outer planets await once more. Saturn with its rings shimmering in pale sunlight. Uranus, tilted and strange. Neptune, dark and distant. The comet will pass them again, not as a bright flame, but as a fading ember. Each planet will tug at it slightly, nudges that will shape its long escape, but none will hold it. Its speed is too great, its path too true. It is leaving us, and nothing can stop it. And beyond them lies the Oort cloud, that vast shell of icy bodies at the edge of our solar system. For most comets, the Oort cloud is home, a birthplace. But for 3I/AT, alas, it is only a borderland. It will pass through without belonging, slipping silently between the frozen debris of our system's edge. And then, at last, it will cross the invisible line, and it will be gone. Back into the interstellar dark, back into the sea between the stars, perhaps to wander for billions more years unseen, perhaps to pass another sun, another world, another people who might look up and see what we have seen, or perhaps to drift forever, a fragment of ice and dust lost in infinity. And what of us? What remains after such a visitor departs? Perhaps more than we think. For moments like these remind us of our fragility, but also of our capacity for wonder. They remind us that we are part of a universe not empty but alive with motion. They remind us that even in silence, even in darkness, beauty drifts, waiting to be seen. Think of the way it felt, the way the sky seemed different when the comet was there. Think of the way it made you pause, the way it slowed your thoughts, the way it gave you perspective. That feeling, that stillness, that is the gift the comet leaves behind. And tonight, as you lie here listening, let that feeling guide you into rest. Imagine 3I/AT fading into the distance, its tail thinning, its coma shrinking, its nucleus returning to silence. Imagine the stars around it, countless and eternal. Imagine Earth below, calm and small, turning gently beneath the sky. And let the thought carry you, not into fear, not into sadness, but into peace. The visitor is leaving, but its story continues, in memory, in science, in art, and in you. Through the realm of giants, the visitor drifts onward, fading slowly, quietly, but still there. 3I/AT has left the brightness of the inner solar system, the sun now smaller, gentler, less commanding, and before it lies the realm of the giants once more. Saturn waits first, distant, ringed, a pale jewel turning silently in the dark. Its rings catch the faint sunlight, scattering it into icy halos. From far away they shimmer like delicate threads, fragile, intricate, endless. As 3I/AT approaches, the great planet stirs its path once again, a tug so soft we cannot feel it, but strong enough to matter across millions of kilometers. Imagine that moment, the comet sweeping slowly past the rings, its tail stretching across the black Saturn below, vast and cold, storms swirling, moons circling endlessly, titans of ice and rock moving through shadow, Enceladus spraying plumes of water into space, Titan wrapped in orange haze, each moon turning, each orbiting, silent witnesses to the passing of the stranger from beyond. And then, onward still, to Uranus, tilted and strange, rolling like a ball on its side, its faint rings invisible to the naked eye, its color pale blue-green, like sunlight through deep water. Uranus does not roar with storms like Jupiter. It whispers instead, cold winds flowing, clouds drifting slowly. 3I/AT glides past, indifferent, unchanged. Neptune follows, darker, bluer, restless with storms that rage in silence. The farthest giant circling at the edge of the sun's dominion. Beyond Neptune lies almost nothing but distance. Silence, time. As the comet sweeps past, Neptune tugs lightly, a farewell handshake, and then lets go. Behind the comet, the planets grow smaller, the sun grows dimmer. Ahead lies the Oort cloud, and beyond it, the endless dark between stars. On Earth, people watch less often now. The comet has faded too much for most eyes to see. Only the patient astronomer, the dedicated dreamer, the one with telescope and time, can trace its faint glow. For the rest, it lives in memory now, in stories told, in photographs saved, in quiet conversations about the night sky that was once lit with its brilliance. But memory matters. Humanity remembers, and in remembering we are changed. Think of how it feels to know that for a brief time we shared the sky with a traveler from another star. Think of how it feels to realize that even across impossible distances, the universe delivers these gifts, messengers of ice and dust, fragments of other worlds, reminders that we are not isolated, not alone, but part of something vast. The comet continues outward, slowly dimming, slowly fading, and with every passing day, fewer instruments can trace it. The trail becomes thinner, the coma shrinks, the tails dissolve into the black, and yet it is still there, still moving, still carrying with it the scars of its passage near the sun, the data of its alien chemistry, the quiet dignity of a traveler without end. And perhaps, as it drifts beyond Neptune, someone on Earth steps outside late at night. The air is cool, the stars faint but steady, and they whisper to themselves, "It's still out there. I saw it once, and though I can't see it now, I know it's still on its way." That thought alone brings calm, a reminder that the story continues even when the light has gone. Through Saturn, through Uranus, through Neptune, the comet has passed. The giants watch it go, silent as always. Their gravity no longer holds it. Their orbits no longer shape its fate. The visitor is free now. And so begins the final leg, the journey outward into the shell of icy fragments at the edge of our system, into the Oort cloud, into the deep, dark ocean of space, where our sun is only one light among billions. The long farewell continues, and with every kilometer, Earthship's memory of the comet becomes more precious. For though the visitor may fade from sight, it will never fade from what it left behind in us. Beyond the final border, the light of the sun is faint now, smaller than a coin held at arm's length, weaker than a lantern seen across a field. For 3I/Atlas, the heat has nearly faded. The coma that once glowed like a halo has collapsed back onto the dark nucleus. The tails, those rivers of dust and light, have dissolved into the black. The comet is silent again, almost as it was before, drifting cold, dark, unchanged, except for the scars of its brief dance near the sun. Ahead lies the Oort cloud, a sphere of icy fragments stretching in every direction, a ghostly halo of comets that never approach the planets, trillions of frozen bodies, circling in silence, waiting, perhaps forever. This is the frontier of the solar system, the border between our star's reach and the dark ocean beyond. 3I/Atlas is not of this place. It does not belong here. It was not born here. Yet as it passes through, it moves among cousins of a different kind. Earth's comets, Earth's debris, frozen witnesses of our own beginning, all are silent, all are waiting, and through them the interstellar visitor glides. Imagine that sea of ice, each fragment a potential comet, each one capable of someday being nudged inward by gravity, becoming a streak of light in our skies. For billions of years most remain here, untouched, unseen. And tonight in our imagining, 3I/Atlas threads its way through them, a stranger passing among locals, silent, unremarked. Back on Earth, only the most powerful telescopes still trace it, a dot fainter than faint, a whisper of motion against the stars. The public no longer looks up. The sky seems ordinary again. Yet scientists still gather the data, still measure its fading brightness, still record every last signal, for they know the truth. This is not just another comet. This is history. And though the world may not notice anymore, humanity has been changed. Think of it. How rare such an event is. For billions of years, comets have come and gone. But only 3 times in our recorded history have we confirmed a true interstellar visitor: Umu, Momu, Borisov, and now 3I/Atlas. Each one a reminder that our solar system is not an island, that material from other stars drifts freely through the galaxy, that we are connected invisibly to the greater whole. Now, 3I/Atlas continues outward, faster than any spacecraft we have ever built. It carries no fuel, no guidance, no plan, only momentum. Ancient momentum, given to it in some distant system long ago. Momentum that has carried it across gulfs of space. Momentum that will carry it long after we are gone. Imagine it crossing the Oort cloud, a journey that may take thousands of years, passing through that vast diffuse swarm of ice and dust, brushing past objects that will never see the sunset's light. Eventually, it will slip beyond them, beyond even the faintest tug of the sunset's gravity. And then, freedom, interstellar space once again, the great dark ocean, the place it has known for most of its existence. Where will it go? No one knows. Perhaps it will wander for billions more years, unseen, untouched. Perhaps one day it will drift near another star, and another civilization will look up and see it as we did. Perhaps they will marvel and measure and wonder, just as we did. Or perhaps they will never notice, and the comet will drift on a silent traveler without audience, without witness. And what of us? Left behind, we are changed by its visit. Subtly perhaps, but changed. We have seen with our own eyes a fragment of another world. We have measured chemistry not of our star. We have been reminded of how small we are, and how connected. Perhaps, centuries from now, people will still speak of the great comet from the stars. Perhaps not. Perhaps only the scientists' papers will remain, archived and read by a few. But the memory will linger in the culture, if only as a faint echo, a reminder that once humanity looked up together and saw a traveler from beyond. Now, imagine yourself lying back, breathing slowly. The night is quiet. The stars above are steady, and though the comet has faded beyond sight, you imagine it out there still drifting, passing, leaving. The thought brings calm, because even in its departure, the story remains. The visitor is almost gone, but its lesson remains. The universe is vast, the distances are endless, but sometimes, just sometimes, the stars send us a reminder that we are part of it all. 3I/Atlas slips into the darkness and the solar system grows quiet once more, into the endless night. And so, it happens, slowly, quietly, almost unnoticed. 3I/ATLS drifts past the last icy fragments of the Oort cloud, past the final grains of frozen matter that still answer faintly to the sun's pull. One by one, the invisible threads of gravity grow weaker, until at last they snap, and the comet is free. No longer is it bound, even slightly, by our star. No longer is it part of our system at all. 3I/ATLS has returned to the place it knows best, the endless starless ocean between suns. From Earth there is no fanfare, no bright farewell. The comet has already faded from sight, long before it reached this point. Its absence feels no different than the nights before it came. But to those who watched, who measured, who dreamed, the moment carries weight. A visitor has come and gone, and with it, a chapter has closed. Picture it now, drifting outward. The sun behind it, smaller than any star once looked upon from Earth. Ahead lies darkness, not empty, but vast, a darkness scattered with distant points of light, each one a sun, each one a possibility. Perhaps in 1,000,000 years, 3I/ATLS will pass near another star. Perhaps it will brush through another system's outer cloud of comets, tugged again by gravity, reshaped, redirected. Perhaps it will once again blaze to life near another sun, growing tails of fire and dust, lighting another sky, and perhaps beings elsewhere with eyes, with instruments, with dreams, will look up and whisper to each other, "A visitor has come." For now, though, it is alone again, a solitary traveller carrying with it the scars of its passage near our sun, the fragments it lost, the gas it vented, but also carrying secrets, secrets of chemistry, of formation, of ancient time, locked within what remains of its frozen heart. Back on Earth, the legacy unfolds. Scientists publish their findings. Papers are written, data compared, the ratios of hydrogen isotopes, the patterns of carbon compounds, the unexpected anomalies in dust composition. Each discovery sparks new questions. Each detail hints at the diversity of star systems, the richness of planets unseen. For ordinary people, the legacy is softer, more personal, memories of watching the sky, of pointing at the faint streak of light, of realizing that something alien, something ancient, was visible to the naked eye, stories passed from parent to child, stories that begin with, "I remember when the comet came." And beyond science, beyond memory, lies something deeper still, a shift in perspective. For once we were reminded that our solar system is not closed, not isolated, not alone. Visitors can arrive at any time, not aliens of science fiction, but fragments of stars, pieces of worlds, emissaries of physics and chance. They come not with intention, but with momentum, not with messages, but with presence. And yet in their silence they speak volumes. Think of the way it felt to know that the comet was above you, drifting silently through the sky. Think of the calm it brought, the awe, the smallness, the connection. These feelings remain even now, long after the light has faded. And perhaps, it plants a seed, a thought, a dream. For if a comet can travel from star to star, drifting across the galaxy without purpose, then perhaps, one day, so might we, not as ice and dust, but as people, as explorers, as children of Earth reaching outward. Imagine that future, ships leaving Earth, not bound by planets but by stars, generations passing, carrying with them the memory of home, the hope of new horizons, traveling as the comet traveled, patient, enduring, unstoppable, and perhaps one day, far in the future, humanity will encounter a comet like 3I/Atlas, not by chance, but by design. We will go to it, study it up close, perhaps even touch it, land upon it, drill into its heart, and in doing so we will not only learn, but connect with a fragment of a world we will never see, with a story older than our species, with a piece of the galaxy itself. But that is for another age. Tonight in this story, the comet is gone, drifting outward into silence, and we remain here beneath the stars, changed by its passing. Close your eyes now, breathe slowly, and imagine the comet fading into the dark, the speck growing smaller, dimmer, until it vanishes. But even in vanishing, it leaves something behind. Not dust, not ice, not fragments, but perspective, wonder, peace. The universe is vast, the night is endless. But for a time we shared it with a visitor from the stars, and that memory will linger, as softly, as gently, as you now drift into sleep. The memory of a visitor. Time moves on, days become weeks, weeks slip into months, and the comet is gone from our skies. For most, life returns to its usual rhythm. The bright streak that once inspired so much awe has faded, but memory lingers. In the quiet of living rooms, in the soft voices of parents telling bedtime stories, in the classrooms where teachers describe the mysteries of the cosmos. 3I/ATA lives on, not as a streak of light anymore, but as a story. I remember, someone says, when the comet came, it was so bright you could see it even from the city. I went outside and watched, and it felt like the universe was watching back. Children who once gazed up at it will grow older. Some will forget, but some will carry that memory into their futures. Perhaps one will become an astronomer, inspired by the quiet nights spent tracing a comet's glow. Perhaps another will become an artist, painting skies filled with light. Perhaps another will simply remember the feeling, the awe, the calm, and carry it like a secret treasure through life. The comet is gone, but its influence remains, subtle, invisible, powerful. In the halls of science, its data continues to shape understanding. Papers are published, debated, read, small differences in isotope ratios, unique signatures in dust composition, all pointing to one truth. The diversity of worlds is greater than we imagined. The galaxy is filled not with sameness, but with variation, with endless possibility. And this truth echoes beyond science, for it suggests that life too may not be rare, if worlds elsewhere form differently, if comets carry different building blocks, if chemistry varies from star to star, then perhaps somewhere in the galaxy, those building blocks assembled into something more. Perhaps comets like 3I/Attilas do not only carry ice and dust, but the seeds of life itself, drifting across the stars, waiting for a place to land. Imagine that, billions of comets wandering the galaxy, each one a messenger, each one a possibility. Some strike barren worlds, leaving nothing, but some find oceans, atmospheres, warmth, and in those oceans, chemistry awakens, molecules meet, patterns form, and life begins. Perhaps our own story started this way. Perhaps Earth's oceans once received gifts from comets, rich in carbon, rich in organics, and perhaps 3I/Attilas carried the same ingredients, the same potential. Had it struck another world long ago, it might have planted the first spark of life there. This thought lingers, and slowly it takes root in human dreams. Because if comets can cross between stars, if they can carry fragments of life-sipped ingredients across the galaxy, then perhaps life itself is not tied to one world, or even one system. Perhaps life drifts like comets, moving slowly, endlessly, across the sea of stars. For some, this is comforting. For others, inspiring, and for a few, it becomes a mission. Generations pass. People still tell stories of the great comet from another star. They tell it in classrooms, in books, in documentaries whispered to help others sleep. They remember that for a short time, humanity shared the sky with a traveler from beyond. And in remembering, the dream grows stronger. The dream of following, of reaching out, of becoming wanderers too. Imagine a far future, ships built not just to circle planets, not just to cross our solar system, but to leave entirely, to drift outward. Patient, enduring, unstoppable, humans aboard those ships, or perhaps machines carrying our minds, our memories, our questions, following in the wake of comets like 3I/Attilas. We may not see that day, but the seed is here. The memory of a visitor has planted it, and as seeds do, it will grow, quietly, slowly, inevitably. Tonight, as you rest, think of that seed. Think of the way a simple streak of light in the sky could stir such thoughts. Think of how it connects us, across generations, across time. The comet has left us, but it has given us something precious, wonder, memory, and a dream of the stars. And so, though the comet is silent now, though it drifts unseen into the black, we are still with it, in memory, in imagination, in story. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and picture it drifting outward, smaller, fainter, but never gone. For even when the light has vanished, the story remains, and the story will last as long as we look up at the stars and wonder what else drifts out there, waiting to be seen. The comet in our stories. The comet is gone now, lost to the dark, but humanity has never forgotten the sky. We are storytellers, and what we see above us has always shaped the tales we tell. Long before telescopes, before science, before written words, our ancestors looked upward and saw comets. And they wondered, were they omens? Were they messages from the gods? Were they warnings or blessings, or both? To them, a comet was not just an icy body in space, it was a story written across the heavens. Even today, with all our knowledge, with data and instruments and explanations, the story still matters. The light still moves us, the wonder still shapes us. And so, 3I/Atlas, though it was only here for a moment, becomes part of that larger tradition, part of the human tapestry of sky and story. Imagine centuries from now, children gathered beneath stars, listening to an elder speak. Once there was a comet from another star. It came into our skies, brighter than any we had seen, and then it left, returning to the dark between suns. The details may blur, the data may fade, but the essence remains, a tale of a visitor, a wanderer, a reminder of the beyond. Science and myth blend easily when it comes to comets, because both speak to something deep inside us, the awareness that we are small and the universe is vast, the sense that we are connected to something greater. In one culture, comets were thought to bring change. In another, they were believed to carry souls across the sky. In yet another, they were considered arrows fired by celestial beings. And perhaps, in our modern time, 3I/Atlas was all of these things in its own way, a carrier of secrets, a messenger from far away. For the scientists, it is a chapter in discovery. For the poets, it is a chapter in beauty. For the dreamers, it is a chapter in longing. And so the comet lingers, not in the sky, but in our collective imagination. Think of how it feels, lying in the dark, remembering the sight of that glowing streak. Think of how it feels, knowing it came from another star. Think of how it feels, realizing that the universe is not distant but present, that even in the silence of night, we are touched by places far beyond our reach. The comet becomes a metaphor for journeys, for visitors, for change. Writers use it to describe the fleeting nature of beauty. Artists capture its light to express longing. Teachers use it to inspire curiosity. And slowly, it becomes part of us, another thread woven into the endless fabric of human connection to the cosmos. And perhaps one day when another interstellar comet arrives, as surely one will someday, we will remember 3I/Atlas. We will say this has happened before, the last one came and went, and now another joins our skies. And in that remembering, we will feel continuity, a link across generations. Because comets do not just connect us to the stars, they connect us to each other. Imagine this. Someone in the far north, wrapped in blankets, standing under a sky alive with auroras, watches the comet drift above. Someone in the deserts of Africa, lying on warm sand, gazes up at the same streak of light. Someone in a bustling city, peering between buildings, sees it faintly above the glow of street lamps. This is the power of such a traveler. It erases boundaries, if only for a moment. It reminds us that Earth is one place, beneath one sky, part of one universe. And so the story of 3I/Atlas does not end when it leaves our solar system. It continues in memory, in myth, in meaning. Close your eyes now and think of how comets have always lived in stories. Think of how they have always stirred both fear and wonder. Think of how, even now, they inspire us to pause, to breathe, to dream. 3I/Atlas has joined that long lineage. It is no longer a comet alone. It is a story we carry forward, a whisper from the stars, a light in our past, and a dream of what is yet to come. And as you rest, imagine the sky above, clear, endless, timeless. Imagine comets drifting across it, one after another, through centuries and millennia. Imagine humanity watching, telling stories, finding meaning, and imagine yourself as part of that long chain, one witness, among countless others, to the beauty of the wandering lights. The comet is gone, but the story is eternal. Seeds in the stars. The comet is gone from our skies, drifting outward, silent once more. But its story is not just about beauty, not just about light and memory. It is about possibility. For comets are not merely icy wanderers, they are carriers, vessels of ancient chemistry, frozen time capsules holding secrets older than planets, older than Earth itself. On our world, scientists have long debated the origin of life. How did it begin? What combination of molecules, of water, of chance, first sparked the reactions that grew into everything we know? Some point to Earth's early oceans, rich with heat and minerals. Others point to the skies, to comets and asteroids that may have delivered the first ingredients. Imagine the early Earth, a young planet battered by impacts, oceans forming, steaming, cooling, the sky filled with fire as comets and asteroids rained down. Among the destruction there were gifts, water, carbon compounds, organics, molecules complex enough to begin the chain of life. Perhaps life began here, in Earth's seas, or perhaps the building blocks were planted from above, carried on the icy backs of comets. Perhaps without them, life would not have begun at all. And so, when 3I/Atlas passed through our solar system, scientists wondered, what did it carry? What molecules slept within its frozen heart? Did it hold amino acids? Did it hold sugars, alcohols, complex carbon chains, the building blocks of biology, drifting quietly between the stars? It did. If so, then perhaps life itself is not bound to one world. Perhaps it spreads, slowly, silently, across the galaxy, not as ships or signals, but as ice and dust, carried by comets like this one, scattered like seeds on the cosmic wind. Think of a garden, a vast field where seeds drift through the air. Most land on bare stone, and nothing happens, but some fall into soil, rich, warm, welcoming, and there they take root, and from one seed a forest grows. Perhaps the galaxy is like that. Most comets pass barren worlds, lifeless, untouched, but some fall upon oceans or lakes or soils rich with chemistry, and there the seeds awaken, and from one comet a world of life begins. It is a humbling thought, for it suggests that life may not be rare. It suggests that the universe may be full of hidden gardens, growing in silence, born from the drifting seeds of comets. And if this is true, then 3I/Atlas was not just a visitor. It was a messenger, a reminder that life is not impossible, not improbable, but perhaps inevitable, given enough time, enough stars, enough comets. Back on Earth, scientists measured its gases, its dust, its chemistry, some of it familiar, some of it new. Each difference was a clue, each similarity was a connection, and together they told a story of diversity, of abundance, of possibility. But for the dreamer, for the poet, the meaning is simpler still. The comet carried life in potential. It carried the story of beginnings. It carried hope. Close your eyes now and imagine it, a comet drifting through the dark, carrying within it frozen molecules, carried for millions of years. And one day, it strikes a world. The ice melts, the molecules dissolve in water, chemistry awakens, and slowly, patiently, life begins. Perhaps that happened here. Perhaps that is happening elsewhere right now. Perhaps 3I/Atlas itself has already planted life somewhere, long ago, in a system far away, and perhaps one day the life it carried will look up at its sky and see a comet from another star, and wonder, as we do now. The visitor is more than a comet. It is a seed. It is a question. It is a reminder that we may not be alone. And tonight, as you drift into rest, let that thought guide you. The stars above are not empty. They are full of possibility, full of stories, full of seeds, and among them drift travelers like 3I/Atlas, silent, ancient, timeless, carrying the potential for life wherever they go. The comet is gone from our sight, but its meaning lingers, like a whisper, like a seed, like a dream waiting to grow, chasing the wanderers. The comet is gone, fading into the black, but the memory lingers, And with memory comes imagination, and with imagination comes the spark of dreams. For if comets can travel between stars, if they can cross gulfs of light years, carrying secrets, carrying seeds, then perhaps one day, so might we. Imagine a far future, centuries, perhaps millennia ahead, when humanity has learned to build ships not just for planets, not just for moons, but for stars, great arcs, patient and enduring generations, living and dying within them, or machines carrying the knowledge of our species, sent outward into the dark. And where would such ships go? Toward nearby stars, yes. Toward planets glimpsed by telescopes, yes. But perhaps also they would follow the paths of comets. Because comets know the way. They are wanderers, scouts, explorers without intention. They travel where stars once shaped them, where chance once flung them. They carry within them both danger and promise, water, carbon, chemistry, all the ingredients of survival. To follow a comet would be to follow a guide. To chase its trajectory across the stars would be to trust the wisdom of time. For if comets have carried seeds of life across the galaxy, then to follow them is to follow the trail of life itself. Imagine such a journey, a human ship, small against the endless dark, trailing behind a comet, watching its faint glow, measuring its fragments, using it as both compass and companion. The comet does not know it is being followed. It has no mind, no purpose, but in its silence, it leads, and humanity, patient and curious, follows. Perhaps a ship comes upon a comet and harvests its ice, melting it for water, splitting it for oxygen, for hydrogen, for fuel. Perhaps the dust becomes soil, the molecules food. The comet becomes not just a guide, but a wellspring, a resource that keeps the journey alive. And in this way, comets may become stepping stones, not just stories, not just symbols, but lifelines scattered across the galaxy, waiting to be found. Back on Earth, we once feared comets, seeing them as omens, as warnings, as disasters, and in truth, they can be destructive. A large impact could change the course of history, but they are also creators, bringers of water, bringers of carbon, bringers of beginnings. And in the far future, perhaps they will be partners, companions on the long road between stars. Imagine now, a world orbiting a distant sun, silent, barren, untouched, until one day, a comet strikes, releasing ice, chemistry, possibility, the spark is planted, and millions of years later, life awakens. Now imagine humanity arriving there, guided by the same comets, finding not just a world but a garden seeded long ago by wanderers like 3I/ATLS. Life that is alien, different, strange, yet born of the same molecules, the same patterns, the same universal chemistry. To stand upon such a world, to look up at its sky, and know that comets brought both them and us to life, that would be the greatest connection of all. And it all begins with visitors like this one. Quiet, brief, mysterious, slipping into our skies, stirring our thoughts, planting dreams. Tonight as you lie here, imagine ships trailing behind comets, gliding slowly between stars. Imagine people looking out their windows and seeing the same faint glow we once saw, guiding them onward. Imagine the connection between Earth, between stars, between species yet to be born, all carried on the icy backs of wandering comets. 3I/Atlas has gone, but in its passing it left behind more than data, more than beauty. It left behind the idea that we too might wander, that we too might chase the wanderers, follow their trails, and in doing so become part of the great cosmic drift. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and picture it. A ship following a comet into the dark. Humanity at last joining the wanderers, guided by the same stars, dreaming the same dreams. The story of comets is the story of journeys, and perhaps someday it will be our story too. The comet and time. Time is a strange thing. On Earth we measure it in hours, in days, in years. We rise with the sun, we rest with the moon, seasons change, calendars turn, and we move forward, always forward. But comets do not keep time the way we do. Their clocks are written in centuries and millennia, in orbits so long that entire civilizations may rise and fall before one returns. And an interstellar comet, like 3I/Attilas, carries an even slower clock. It drifts not in orbits, but in ages. It crosses distances so vast that even billions of years feel like steps on a path. When we look at a comet, we are not only looking at a traveler, we are looking at time itself, time frozen in ice, time preserved in dust, time carried silently across the galaxy. 3I/Attilas formed long before Earth was born, before our sun ignited, before our planets gathered from dust. It was there when its parent star was young. It was there when that star aged, when gravity flung it outward, when the silence of interstellar space embraced it. For billions of years it drifted, without witness, without audience, and then for one brief moment it passed through our skies. Think of that scale, billions of years in darkness, and only a few months in light, and we were here to see it. That coincidence, that timing, is itself a wonder. Perhaps this is one of the greatest gifts of comets. Perspective. They remind us that our lifetimes are short, fragile, fleeting. They remind us that the universe moves on scales far beyond our own, and yet in that smallness there is beauty, because even though we are brief, we are here and we are capable of wonder. Imagine lying beneath the stars, watching a comet glow above. You know that it has travelled longer than history itself. You know that it will travel long after you are gone. And yet in this moment your gaze and its presence align. The vastness of time narrows to a point, and you are connected to the past, to the future, to the endless flow. This is destiny, in a sense, not fate in the way stories tell it, but the quiet truth that the universe is vast, and we are part of it, that the paths of comets and the lives of humans sometimes intersect, briefly, beautifully, and that this intersection reminds us who we are. Because to see a comet like 3I/Atlas is to feel both small and infinite. Small, because we are a flicker in the cosmic night. Infinite, because we are aware, because we can look up, because we can know. And perhaps destiny is not about being chosen, but about being aware, aware of the moment, aware of the wonder, aware of the silence that stretches beyond us. The comet drifts on now, carrying with it time, carrying with it history. It will never know us, never see us, never remember, and yet we remember it. That is our role in this exchange, to witness, to wonder, to tell the story. And so 3I/ATLS reshapes not only our science, not only our culture, but our sense of time itself. It teaches us patience. It teaches us humility. It teaches us that even the briefest moments of beauty can matter, can last, can echo through generations. Close your eyes now. Breathe slowly and imagine time as a river, flowing endlessly, without beginning, without end. And imagine the comet drifting along that river, moving patiently, silently, and for a moment you floated there with it. You saw it, you knew it, and that moment, though brief, became eternal in memory. This is the gift of the comet. Not only the light, not only the chemistry, but the reminder that time is vast, and that beauty can exist, even in the smallest slice of it. The visitor drifts outward. Time stretches onward, and we remain here carrying its memory into the future. Echoes of eternity. The comet drifts outward, still, smaller, fainter, further with each passing day. The sun is now no more than a star behind it, one among billions, indistinguishable from the others. Ahead lies only darkness, vast, silent, endless. And yet, the comet is not truly gone. It continues. It always continues. For comets move on timescales that stretch beyond imagination. They do not live by decades, or centuries, or even millennia. They live by the rhythm of eternity. Imagine eternity, a word we use often, but rarely stop to feel. It is not just a long time. It is the absence of endings, the endless repetition, the endless flow, the endless drift. And in its own way, 3I/ATLAS is part of that flow. It formed billions of years ago, when another star was young. It survived the chaos of its birth, the violence of gravity, the ejection into interstellar space. It crossed gulfs of distance so wide that even light takes millennia to travel them. And after all that time, it passed through our skies and then continued. Now imagine the future. Millions of years from now, long after we are gone, 3I/ATLAS will still be drifting. Perhaps it will encounter another star. Perhaps it will slip through another planetary system. Perhaps it will pass unnoticed, as it has for most of its journey. Or perhaps it will be seen again, by eyes we cannot imagine, by beings we cannot name. Eternity is filled with such echoes. Comets drifting, stars forming, planets circling, life awakening, civilizations rising and falling, over and over, endlessly. The scale is too vast for us to grasp fully, and yet, when we glimpse a comet, we touch it for a moment. We feel eternity pressing softly at the edges of our awareness. Think of it. How it feels to know that 3I/ATLAS has existed for billions of years. How it feels to know that it will exist for billions more, and how in that great stretch of time, our brief moment of seeing it becomes precious. Not because it is long, but because it is rare. Perhaps this is why comets stir us so deeply. They are not only beautiful, they are timeless. They remind us that we are part of something eternal. Even if our lives are fleeting, they remind us that the universe endures, and in its endurance it carries beauty forward. Close your eyes now, and imagine eternity not as something distant, but as something present. Imagine it as the silence between breaths, as the stillness of night, as the way the stars shine unchanged above us. In that stillness, the comet drifts, slowly, silently, endlessly, carrying its frozen cargo through the galaxy, a thread of eternity woven into the dark. And we, for a brief moment, became aware of it. We looked up, we saw, we remembered, and in that remembering, eternity touched us. Perhaps that is the truest gift of 3I/ATLAS. Not the data, not the measurements, but the reminder that time stretches endlessly, and yet beauty can exist in the smallest slice of it. A moment of wonder, a night of awe, a memory that lasts forever in the human heart. The comet is gone now, but eternity continues, and in the endless night of space, there will always be wanderers, there will always be visitors, there will always be echoes of eternity, drifting silently, waiting to be seen again. Humanity among the stars. The comet is gone, lost again to the dark, but its passing has left something behind. Not only data, not only memory, but imagination. For when we saw 3I/ATLAS, we did not only see a streak of light, we saw possibility. We saw proof that journeys between stars are not impossible, that material, even fragile and icy, can survive the long night of space, that worlds are not separate, but connected by invisible threads. And in seeing that, we began to imagine ourselves differently, not just as creatures of Earth, but as children of the stars. On Earth we are bound by gravity, by atmosphere, by the comfort of oceans and land. We rise and fall with the planet's spin. We live and die in cycles as old as life itself. But when we looked up and saw a comet from another star, we realized there is more. There is always more. Comets travel without ships, without fuel, without plan, and if they can drift across the galaxy, then perhaps one day so can we. Imagine a future where humanity has spread beyond Earth, Our cities no longer confined to one planet, but scattered among the stars, worlds turned green with life, moons lit with homes, ships gliding in the void like slow-moving comets themselves. And when we look back from that future, perhaps we will say, it began with wonder, with stories of comets like 3I/Attilas, with the spark of imagination planted in those who saw, who dreamed, who decided to reach beyond. For comets are more than objects. They are teachers. They remind us of endurance, of patience, of the power of persistence, drifting silently for ages, carrying potential across gulfs that seem impossible. And in their persistence, they show us a mirror of what we might become. Perhaps humanity itself is a comet, small, fragile, but filled with possibility, born in one place, but destined to wander, carrying within us seeds of life, of story, of thought, drifting outward one day into the endless sea between stars. Close your eyes and imagine it. The earth below you, small and blue, the stars around you, endless and bright, and humanity, not one world anymore, but many, a constellation of voices scattered across the galaxy, connected by memory, by history, by story, and somewhere, in that future, another comet drifts by, another interstellar traveler, and humanity no longer bound to Earth, watches it from many worlds, many skies, remembering 3I/ATLS, remembering the first visitor that made us dream. For this is how inspiration works. It begins small, a spark, a streak of light across the night, and then it grows, slowly, silently, until it changes the course of everything. The comet has left us, but it has given us this gift, the reminder that we are not only earthbound but starbound, not only fleeting but capable of joining eternity. Tonight, as you rest, think of that future, humanity among the stars, scattered like comets themselves, enduring, wandering, carrying the story of Earth with us wherever we go. And think of the comet, still drifting, still silent, still carrying its own story across the galaxy. Perhaps one day our paths will cross again, perhaps not. But even if never, the connection remains, because once, for a brief and beautiful moment, we shared the same sky, and that is enough. Bringers of life, bringers of endings. Comets have always carried two faces, beauty and terror, creation and destruction, hope and fear. When we saw 3I/ATLAS, we saw wonder, a glowing streak, a visitor from beyond, but deep within us an older instinct stirred. For throughout history comets have been feared, not just admired. In ancient times they were seen as omens, signs of death, of kings falling, of empires collapsing, and perhaps that fear was not entirely misplaced. For comets, though small compared to planets, carry immense power. Should one strike Earth, it could change everything. Imagine it, a comet, miles wide, plunging into our atmosphere. In moments, the sky would blaze, the ground would shudder, oceans would rise, the world itself would tremble. For comets have ended ages before. They have rewritten history, reshaped ecosystems, and perhaps even cleared the way for us to exist. The dinosaurs may have been undone by such a visitor, a fiery impact, a cloud of dust, a winter that lasted years, and from that destruction a new story began. Mammals rose, and eventually we did too. So comets are not only bringers of life's ingredients, they are also sculptors of destiny, carving paths through history with both creation and destruction. And 3I/ATLAS, though it passed us by safely, carried that same potential, that same dual nature, for within its ice was water, carbon, organics, gifts for a barren world, but in its mass was also energy, energy that could shatter continents, that could erase civilizations. This is the paradox of comets. They are both givers and takers, both seeds and scythes, both beginnings and endings. And perhaps this is why they stir us so deeply, because in them we see reflected the balance of existence itself, the fragility of life, the power of chance, the thin line between flourishing and falling. Think of it now, as you breathe slowly, the comet drifting through space, silent, indifferent, not caring whether it gives or takes, not choosing whether it creates or destroys. It simply is, a body of ice and rock, obeying physics, following momentum. The meaning lies not in the comet, but in us, in how we see it, how we feel it, how we weave it into our stories. For in truth, the universe does not promise safety. It does not promise danger either. It simply offers motion, interaction, chance, and from those interactions beauty and terror alike are born. 3I/Atlas passed without harm. But in imagining what could have been, we learn humility, we learn gratitude, we learn the value of watching the skies, of preparing, of remembering that our world is fragile, and at the same time, we learn wonder, for even the same comet that could have ended us instead gave us awe, beauty, inspiration. Close your eyes now and imagine the comet above, not striking, not destroying, but drifting, carrying both possibilities in silence. You are safe, you are calm, and yet you know this is the nature of the universe, creation and destruction intertwined. Comets are reminders of balance, that every gift carries risk, that every ending carries a beginning, that even in silence, the cosmos is alive with forces that shape destiny. And 3I/Atlas, though it has gone, gave us that reminder, softly, beautifully, reminding us that we live in a universe where fragility and strength exist side by side. The comet drifts onward, carrying the seeds of life, carrying the potential of endings, and we remain here, between the two, grateful for the gift of wonder, aware of the weight of chance, humbled by the balance of it all, the cycle of renewal. Comets, fragile, fleeting, yet eternal in their rhythm, they blaze into view, vanish into the dark, and sometimes they break apart entirely. Yet even in their destruction they create. When a comet crumbles, its dust spreads through space. The Earth, circling in its orbit, sometimes passes through these trails, and when we do, the night sky answers. Meteor showers, countless streaks of light falling silently across the heavens. A comet set's ending becomes our wonder. Its fragments become wishes whispered on falling stars. Its loss becomes our gain. And in this way, comets remind us of something essential, that endings are never only endings. They are beginnings too. 3I/Atlas itself once showed us this lesson. In 2020, before its interstellar designation, another comet bearing the same name shattered as it neared the sun. It was expected to brighten, to dazzle, to become the comet of the century. Instead, it broke apart into fragments, fading before our eyes. Some were disappointed. Yet even in its breaking, it gave us beauty. Telescopes captured the delicate spread of its fragments, the glowing trail of dust and ice dissolving into space. Destruction, yet also creation, a story not of failure but of transformation. And perhaps the interstellar 3I/Atlas carries the same lesson, though in a different way. For even if it one day breaks apart in the dark, its fragments will continue to wander, and each fragment will carry the same secrets, the same molecules, the same potential for life, seeds scattered even wider, spread even further. It is the cycle of renewal, of endings giving way to beginnings, of destruction feeding creation, of silence turning into song. On Earth, too, we see this pattern. Ancient forests burn, and from the ashes, new life grows. Stars die in explosions, and from their scattered elements, new stars ignite, worlds collide, and from the chaos, new orbits, new moons, new possibilities emerge. The universe does not cling to permanence. It thrives on renewal, and comets are part of that truth. Think of it now, as you lie still, breathing gently. A comet blazing in the night, breaking apart, scattering into dust. The dust drifts through the solar system. Earth passes through, and suddenly the sky is alive with falling stars. Light across the heavens, fleeting, silent, countless, and all of it, born from an ending. Perhaps this is why comets feel so human to us, because we too know endings, and we too hope for renewal. We too live brief, fragile lives, and yet from every loss, something new emerges. From every ending, a new story begins. 3I/Atlas may be gone from our sight, now drifting silently beyond, but its passing planted seeds in us, seeds of wonder, of imagination, of story, and those seeds grow, becoming new dreams, new hopes, new futures. Close your eyes and think of the comet not as something lost, but as something transformed. Its light may be gone, but its influence lingers, in science, in memory, in inspiration. Its presence remains, even in absence, just as falling stars remind us of comets long gone. This is the gift of renewal, to know that nothing truly ends, to know that even in silence something remains, to know that even in the dark there are seeds waiting to awaken. The comet drifts on, silent, scarred, eternal, carrying within it the cycle of renewal, reminding us that endings are beginnings and beginnings are everywhere, carriers of stories. Comets are more than ice and dust. They are storytellers, storytellers without voices, without words, yet filled with history. Every grain of dust within them carries memory. Every frozen molecule is a page from a book written long before Earth was born. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, elements forged in stars, elements scattered into clouds, elements gathered into comets. And when we study them, we are not just measuring chemistry, we are reading history. 3I/Atlas carried such a story not of our sun but of another, a star far away, perhaps long gone now, a system that may have formed planets, that may have grown life, that may have vanished into silence. We may never know the details, but we know this much. 3I/Atlas was born there, shaped there, given its momentum there, and in drifting to us, it brought us a fragment of that star's story. Think of it. A comet is a messenger. It drifts across the galaxy, carrying not just matter but memory, the memory of its birth, the memory of its star, the memory of a time before our world existed. When we look at a comet, we are not only seeing an object, we are seeing a story billions of years in the making. And in this way, comets remind us that the universe is filled with stories waiting to be read. Each star, each planet, each fragment of rock carries its own history. We too are part of this. Our bones carry calcium forged in ancient stars. Our blood carries iron that once burned in the cores of suns. We are living archives of cosmic history, just as comets are frozen archives. But comets move. They carry their stories from one place to another. They connect stars to stars, systems to systems, times to times. They are cosmic librarians, drifting through the galaxy with shelves of ice and dust, waiting for someone to open the pages. 3I/Atlas came to us, and for a brief moment we were able to read from its pages. The data collected by telescopes, the spectra of its gases, the patterns of its dust, all were chapters in its long, silent book. And though we only glimpsed a fragment, it was enough to remind us that the galaxy is not silent. It is filled with stories. Imagine it now, as you breathe slowly, a comet drifting through the black, carrying a frozen library, carrying knowledge of a star long gone, and you, lying beneath your own sky, are reading it in light, in color, in wonder. In the far future, perhaps we will not only read comets from afar, perhaps we will reach them, land upon them, dig into their cores, open their frozen pages in full. Perhaps one day, a human hand will hold a piece of 3I/Atlas, crumbling, ancient, delicate, and in that fragment, we will feel the story of another world. Until then, we imagine, we listen, we dream. Comets are storytellers, and we, in witnessing them, become their audience. Their voices are silence, but their words are light. Their message is simple. You are part of this. You too are a story carried through the stars. Close your eyes now and imagine comets drifting endlessly, each one a book, each one a tale. Imagine the galaxy filled with them, waiting to be read, waiting to be remembered, waiting to connect worlds through story. 3i/ATLAS was one such book, and though it has left us, its story remains in memory, in science, in imagination. And perhaps when you dream tonight, you will dream of drifting through the stars, opening comet after comet, reading their frozen words, hearing the stories of suns and planets long gone, and realizing that you too are a story in this endless library. Threads of connection. Comets are wanderers, but they are also bridges, connections stretched across the silence of space. When 3i/ATLAS passed through our skies, it was not only a visitor from another star, it was also a link, a reminder that the galaxy is not made of isolated islands, but of threads woven together, threads of matter, of energy, of history. A comet begins in one place, near a star in a nursery of dust and ice, and then it is flung outward, perhaps by the tug of a giant planet, perhaps by the chaos of a forming system, and from that moment onward, it is no longer bound. It drifts, it crosses, it connects. And so, when such a comet enters another system, as 3i/ATLAS entered ours, it brings with it a thread. Invisible, fragile but real, a thread between its home and ours, a thread between one star and another. Imagine the galaxy as a great web, stars shining at the intersections and comets drifting along the strands. Each comet a messenger, a carrier, a connector, weaving systems together across unimaginable distances. And we, watching from Earth, are part of that web too, for in seeing 3i/ATLAS, we were connected not only to the comet, but to the star that gave it birth, to the story it carried, to the possibility of life. It may have spread, but comets connect more than stars. They connect people. Think of it. For months, billions of eyes turned upward to the same patch of sky, people in different countries, speaking different languages, living different lives, all seeing the same light, all feeling the same wonder, all connected by the same visitor. Children in villages with no electricity, families in cities filled with light, astronomers with advanced telescopes, dreamers with nothing but their eyes, all shared the same sky, all shared the same comet. For a moment, differences faded. For a moment, humanity remembered that we live beneath one sky, on one world, circling one star. And this is what comets do. They remind us of our unity. They remind us that borders and boundaries are illusions beneath the stars. They remind us that we are connected, not just to each other, but to everything. 3i/ATLAS did not choose to connect us. It did not plan its journey. It simply drifted, silently, endlessly, and yet, in passing, it tied invisible threads between stars, between worlds, between people. Close your eyes now, and imagine those threads stretching across the galaxy from comet to star, from star to world, from world to us. Imagine them glowing softly, like filaments of light woven into the dark. Imagine Earth glowing too, not alone, but part of the vast web. And as you rest, imagine yourself held in that web, connected to stars, to comets, to all of humanity, safe in the knowledge that you are part of something larger, older, endless. The comet drifts on now, but the threads remain invisible, unbroken, eternal. And we, by remembering, by imagining, by telling its story, continue to weave them. The silent music of comets. Space is silent, utterly, perfectly silent. No air, no wind, no sound, and yet when we watch comets, we cannot help but imagine music. A comet like 3I/Atlas drifts through the dark with no voice, no song, and yet its presence feels melodic. Its glow across the sky feels like a note in a larger harmony. Its passing feels like part of a rhythm that began long before us and will continue long after. Astronomers have sometimes turned data into sound. They measure the particles, the waves, the frequencies, and translate them into tones. When they did this with comets, they heard strange music, eerie, beautiful, the voices of magnetic fields and particles, not audible to human ears, but real all the same. Imagine now 3I/ATLAs drifting through our solar system, trailing a song we could not hear directly, a faint melody woven into the solar wind, vibrations of dust and plasma echoing against the quiet, a cosmic instrument playing softly, endlessly, as it drifts between stars. And though we could not hear it with our ears, we felt it in other ways, in awe, in wonder, in the rhythm of nights spent looking upward. For isn't set awe itself a kind of music? Isn't set wonder a harmony between heart and cosmos? Comets remind us that silence and music are not opposites, but companions. The silence of space is vast, unbroken, but within it, every movement, every interaction creates patterns, rhythms, harmonies. The orbit of planets, the spin of stars, the drift of galaxies, the blazing arcs of comets, all of it is part of a great symphony, one we glimpse only briefly, one we can never hear in full, and yet one that plays endlessly. And 3I/Atlas was one note in that endless score, faint, fleeting, but essential. Think of how music works. Each note is brief, each sound passes quickly, and yet together they create something larger, something beautiful, something eternal. The comet was like that, a single note in the music of the galaxy, and though it has faded now, its place remains, its contribution lingers in the harmony. Close your eyes and imagine the galaxy not as silent, but as filled with music. Imagine the stars as instruments, the planets as chords, the comets as fleeting notes of wonder. Imagine the whole of creation as a song, and you too as part of it. Your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts all adding to the rhythm. 3I/Atlas is gone from our skies, but its note has already been played, and it echoes still, not in sound but in memory, not in vibration but in wonder. And when you rest tonight, imagine you are listening, not with ears, but with soul, to the silent music of the cosmos, to the harmony of comets drifting, stars burning, galaxies turning, and in that music imagine yourself safe, timeless, eternal. The comet drifts onward, its music fading from us, but carried still into the dark, into the silence, into the symphony that never ends. Carriers of dreams. Comets drift silently, without intention, without thought, and yet, when they pass through our skies, they awaken something in us, something ancient, something tender. They awaken dreams. When 3I/Atlas blazed across the heavens, billions of people saw it. Some saw data, molecules, trajectories, patterns of dust and gas. Some saw beauty, a streak of light too large to ignore. Some saw danger, a reminder of how fragile our world is. But many saw something more. They saw a dream of connection, of exploration, of wonder. For comets have always stirred the human imagination. In ancient times, they were woven into myths, fiery serpents, celestial swords, messengers of gods. In more recent centuries, they became symbols of change, revolutions, discoveries, awakenings. They are symbols of the cosmos itself, vast, mysterious, full of possibility. A comet is a dream given form, a piece of the unknown entering our familiar sky, a fragment of the infinite touching our small finite world. And so when 3I/Ateles passed, it carried dreams with it. Not intentionally, but by presence alone. Dreams of other stars, other worlds, other lives. Dreams of travel, of discovery, of belonging to something larger. Imagine now, a child standing outside at night. The sky above is dark, filled with stars, and there, stretching across the horizon, is the glow of a comet. The child stares, wide-eyed, and whispers a wish for adventure, for knowledge, for something beyond. That moment plants a seed, and decades later, perhaps that child becomes a scientist, or an explorer, or simply someone who carries wonder into their everyday life. The comet itself may never know, but its presence has shaped a dream. This is what comets do. They are not only physical objects, but catalysts of imagination. They remind us that the universe is larger than our fears, larger than our struggles, larger even than our hopes, and they invite us to dream, to expand beyond the limits of what we think possible. 3I/Atlas, in passing, became part of countless dreams, some scientific, some poetic, some personal. It is gone now, fading into the dark, but the dreams it sparked remain, and those dreams in turn will shape the future. Perhaps the dream will lead to new science, new missions, new discoveries, new journeys outward. Perhaps the dream will lead to art, poems, songs, paintings, stories that remind us of the beauty above. Perhaps the dream will simply remain in memory, a private moment of wonder, carried silently in the heart. But no dream is wasted, for dreams are the seeds of tomorrow. They guide us, inspire us, remind us. Close your eyes now, and imagine comets drifting through the galaxy, each one carrying not only ice and dust, but dreams, dreams planted in every world they pass, in every eye that sees them. Imagine those dreams spreading, growing, connecting, until the galaxy itself becomes not just a place of stars, but a place of shared imagination. 3I/Atlas was one such dream carrier, and though it has left us, its dreams remain, carried now within us, within you. And tonight as you rest, let yourself drift on those dreams, dreams of comets, of stars, of endless skies, dreams of journeys yet to come, dreams of silence that is never empty, but always full of possibility. The comet has gone, but the dream continues, endlessly, softly, forever. Between dreams and waking, there are moments in life that feel like dreams, moments when the world is so strange, so beautiful, so unlike our everyday, that we wonder if we are awake at all. Comets create such moments. When 3I/Atlas lit our skies, people stepped outside, rubbed their eyes, and whispered to themselves, "Is this real? Am I dreaming?" Because a streak of light stretching across the heavens feels like something from myth, from story, from imagination, and yet it is real, entirely real, a body of ice and dust drifting through the cosmos. This is the gift of comets. They stand at the threshold between the physical and the dreamlike, between science and imagination, between waking life and visions of the infinite. On one hand, they are measurable, trajectories plotted with precision, compositions analyzed, data recorded. On the other, they are ephemeral, glowing, fleeting, dissolving into silence. They slip through categories, they belong to both worlds, the world we can touch and the world we can only dream. And when we encounter them, we too slip into that space between. Think of it. You stand beneath a night sky watching a comet glow above. You know the facts. Frozen water, carbon, dust, heated by the sun, trailing gas into space. You understand the physics, the orbit, the chemistry, and yet even knowing you feel something else. Wonder, awe, longing, feelings that do not belong to equations but to dreams. It is this blending of knowledge and imagination, of waking and dreaming, that makes comets so powerful. 3I/Atlas carried this power, For a few months it drew us out of routine. It reminded us that the world is larger, stranger, more beautiful than we often allow ourselves to remember. It reminded us that reality itself can feel dreamlike, if we only look up. Perhaps this is why comets linger in our myths and stories. They are not just objects in the sky. They are symbols of crossing, of thresholds, of the borderlands between states of being, life and death, hope and fear, waking and dreaming. And perhaps this is why, even now, as 3I/ATLAS drifts far beyond our reach, it continues to live in us, not only as science, but as dream. Close your eyes now, and imagine yourself standing at that threshold, half in the waking world, half in the world of dreams. Above you, a comet glows, a reminder that both worlds are real. Both worlds matter, science and story, fact and wonder, waking and dreaming. The comet is the bridge. The reminder that we do not have to choose, that we can know and still imagine, that we can measure and still dream, that we can live fully awake and still feel the magic of the stars. 3I/ATLAS is gone from our sight, but it left this bridge behind, for anyone willing to cross it, for anyone willing to pause, to wonder, to dream while awake. And tonight, as you drift into sleep, let yourself walk that bridge, one step at a time, from the noise of the day into the silence of the stars, from the certainty of waking into the softness of dreaming. And as you cross, let the comet guide you, glowing faintly ahead, pulling you gently into rest. The comet is gone, but the dream remains, and through that dream you are connected to the stars, always, endlessly, forever. The hope of wanderers. Hope is a fragile thing, and yet it is also enduring, like a flame that flickers in the wind but never fully dies. Comets carry this quality, fleeting in their presence, but enduring in their meaning, appearing for only a short time, then fading into the dark, and yet leaving behind light in memory, in imagination, in the human heart. When 3I/ATLAS passed through our skies, it reminded us of this. It did not stay long, it did not remain with us, but for those who looked up even once, even briefly, it planted something, a quiet reminder that beauty can appear unexpectedly, that wonder can enter our lives at any moment. This is the essence of hope, the knowledge that even in darkness, even in silence, something new may arrive. Comets embody this truth, for they come from the farthest reaches, from the coldest dark, and yet when they approach the sun they blaze into brilliance. They remind us that even what seems lifeless, forgotten, lost, can one day shine. Perhaps this is why humanity has so often looked at comets with hope as well as fear, because within them is the message: nothing is truly gone, nothing is truly hopeless, even the coldest traveller can burn bright again. Think of 3I/ATLAS, drifting for billions of years, unseen, untouched, and yet when it reached our sun, it became luminous. It became a vision. It became a reminder that time does not erase possibility. And perhaps for us, this carries a deeper meaning, for our lives too move through cycles of dark and light. There are seasons of silence, of cold, of waiting, but there are also seasons of brilliance, of awakening, of hope renewed. The comet is a mirror of this truth. On Earth people looked up and felt it, perhaps without words, perhaps only as a feeling, a lift of the heart, a pause of breath, a soft awareness. Things can change. Things can become beautiful again. And even now, though the comet has left us, the hope remains in stories told, in pictures saved, in the memory of light across the sky. Close your eyes now and imagine it, a comet blazing suddenly into view, a reminder that wonder can arrive without warning, a reminder that hope too can return when we least expect it. The universe is vast and filled with silence, but also filled with wanderers, carrying messages of endurance, of possibility, of renewal. 3I/ATLAS was one such wanderer, a fleeting messenger of hope. And as you rest, Let that hope settle within you, gentle, steady, unshakable. For just as the comet lit the sky, your own light can shine, even after silence, even after darkness. The comet drifts outward now, but the hope it carried remains, softly, endlessly, forever. The mystery that remains. Science seeks answers, explanations, clarity, and yet there are always questions left behind, always puzzles unsolved, always mysteries that remain. Comets embody this truth, for even as we study them, measure their mass, chart their orbits, analyze their chemistry, they retain a quality that escapes certainty. They remain unpredictable, fragile, surprising. They remind us that not everything can be reduced to numbers. 3I/Atlas carried this reminder with it. We measured its speed, its brightness, its trajectory, and yet questions remained. Where exactly did it come from? What star birthed it? What stories lie frozen inside its dust? Did it carry molecules of life? Did it once pass near planets unknown to us? Some of these questions may never be answered. The comet is gone now, beyond our reach, its secrets locked once more within its icy heart. And that is part of its gift, for mystery, too, is necessary. We live in a world where we long to know, to explain, to understand, and yet mystery is what keeps us searching, what keeps us wondering, what keeps us humble before the vastness of the universe. Imagine if everything were known, if all questions had answers. The stars would still shine, but without mystery. Would they still move us? Would the sky still feel infinite, still stir dreams, still open doors of imagination? Comets remind us that not knowing is beautiful too, that mystery has its own value, that silence too is a kind of answer. 3I/Atlas was not fully explained, not fully captured. It slipped through our skies quickly, carried away before we could learn everything. But perhaps that was right. Perhaps it was meant to leave something unsolved, something for us to hold in wonder. Close your eyes now and imagine a question without an answer, a mystery that does not frustrate but comforts, a silence that does not threaten but calms. That is the mystery of comets, a reminder that the universe is larger than us, and that some things will always remain beyond reach. And in that distance, in that unknowable quality, there is peace, because not everything must be solved. Some things are meant to be felt, not understood. Some things are meant to be remembered, not explained. 3I/Atlas has left us with that kind of mystery, a quiet, beautiful uncertainty, a reminder that even with all our knowledge, the universe is still deeper, stranger, vaster than we can imagine. And tonight, as you drift towards sleep, let yourself rest in that mystery. You do not need all the answers. You do not need to know everything. It is enough to wonder. It is enough to dream. The comet drifts outward, carrying its secrets with it, and the mystery remains, softly, endlessly, forever. The comet in our memory. The sky has grown quiet again. No glowing tails, no blazing streaks, just stars, steady and familiar. The comet is gone, but its absence is not emptiness. It is memory. For this is another gift of comets. They linger within us long after they vanish from sight. 3I/Atlas is no longer visible. Its coma has faded, its tail dissolved, its light lost to the black. And yet, for those who looked, even once, even briefly, it remains, the image of a streak across the heavens, the hush of standing beneath it, the feeling of awe that needed no words. Memory is its own kind of orbit, not of ice and rock, but of moments and feelings, circling back again and again, not fading but becoming part of us. On Earth, people tell the stories still. A child remembers the night their parents pointed upward. A scientist remembers the data gathered, the thrill of discovery. An artist remembers sketching its glow. A dreamer remembers making a wish beneath its light. Each memory is different, but together they form a constellation, a pattern of recollection that ensures the comet is never truly gone. This is how comets live, on not in the sky, but in the stories we tell, not in the present, but in the past carried forward, not in ice and dust, but in memory. And memory is powerful. It shapes us, even when we do not notice. It guides us, comforts us, reminds us. Think of it. You close your eyes and recall the comet. You see its glow, faint or bright, stretching across the night. You feel again the stillness, the wonder, the silence of that moment. And though the comet is billions of kilometers away now, in that instant, it is present again, alive within you. Perhaps this is why humanity has always remembered comets so vividly, because they are fleeting, because they appear suddenly, blaze brightly, then vanish. Their brevity makes them unforgettable. Their rarity makes them precious. Their passing etches them into memory more deeply than things we see every day. And so 3I/Atlas will linger, not in the sky, but in the minds of those who saw it, and even in those who never did. The story remains, passed along, retold, imagined. Close your eyes now, and imagine your own memory of the comet. Whether real or imagined, it does not matter. See its glow, feel its presence. Remember the calm it carried. That memory is yours to keep. It will not fade. It will remain, soft and steady like a star within your mind. The comet drifts outward, leaving our sky behind. But within us, it continues, not gone, not forgotten, alive in memory, alive in story, alive in the quiet of those who pause. And remember, the legacy of a visitor. Every visitor leaves something behind. Footprints, echoes, memories, and though comets pass quickly, they too leave legacies. 3I/ATLS is gone, now drifting silently into the interstellar dark. Yet its legacy endures, not in the comet itself, but in what it stirred within us. For scientists, its legacy is data, measurements of gas and dust, of isotopes and light curves, information that will be studied for decades compared to future visitors, shaping our understanding of how stars and systems form. That knowledge is part of its gift. For storytellers, its legacy is inspiration. The image of a comet from another star, a narrative of a wanderer crossing the galaxy, a reminder that the universe is not still but alive with travelers, with motion, with possibility. For dreamers, its legacy is wonder, the memory of standing beneath it, of feeling small and infinite at once, the quiet realization that our skies are open, that other stars touch us, that we are not isolated. And for humanity as a whole, its legacy is connection, a moment shared across cultures, across continents, across people, a rare experience that reminded us that we live under one sky. This is the nature of legacies. They ripple outward, beyond the moment, beyond the event. They continue long after the visitor is gone. Think of it, a comet that traveled for billions of years, unseen, and yet in the brief months it passed near us, it left marks that will last for generations, knowledge in books, stories in voices, dreams in minds. That is legacy, not permanence but impact, not staying but leaving something behind. And perhaps this is what comets teach us most deeply, that even the briefest presence can leave an enduring mark, that even fleeting beauty can echo forever. That legacy does not require permanence, only meaning. 3I/Atlas may never return. It may drift endlessly, never again crossing another system, but it has already achieved immortality. In us, in memory, in story, in science, in wonder. Close your eyes now and think of your own legacy. Not in terms of grand gestures, but in the quiet ways you touch others, in words spoken, in kindness given, in memories planted. Like a comet, you may pass briefly through someone SIP's life, but even a brief presence can leave light behind. The comet drifts on its path unknown, its future unseen, but its legacy is secure, not in the stars, but in us. And as you rest, know this, like the comet, You too are part of the Universe Sep's legacy. Your life, your presence, your wonder, all are threads woven into the endless story of the cosmos. 3 I/Atialas is gone, but its legacy remains softly, endlessly, forever. The eternal drift. The comet is gone, lost now to the silence of interstellar space. The sun is behind it, a fading spark. The planets are no more than memories of gravity left behind. Ahead, only darkness stretches, endless, star-filled, eternal. And yet, though it has left us, its story remains. 3 I/Attilas came as a stranger, unannounced, uninvited, unplanned, and yet, in its brief visit, it became part of us, part of our science, part of our imagination, part of our memory. We measured it, we studied it, we told stories of it, we dreamed because of it. And now, though it drifts far beyond sight, it remains with us still. This is the rhythm of the universe. Wanderers come and go, stars are born and die. Worlds rise and fall, civilizations awaken and fade. And through it all, beauty passes briefly before us, leaving memory, leaving wonder, leaving threads of meaning. Comets embody that rhythm, fleeting, fragile, and yet eternal in their cycle. They blaze into view, vanish into dark, and yet are never truly gone. They live on in fragments, in dust, in showers of meteors, in the quiet of memory. 3 I/Atlas has joined that rhythm. Now, it is part of the Great Drift, carrying the chemistry of its birth star across the galaxy, carrying seeds of life perhaps to worlds unseen, carrying mystery into eternity. And we too are part of that rhythm. Our lives are short, our moments brief, but like comets, we leave something behind: light, memory, legacy. We pass through the lives of others, sometimes for only a moment, but in that moment we can shine, and our presence can last. Close your eyes now, and imagine it. The galaxy as an ocean, stars as islands, comets as ships drifting endlessly. Humanity too, as wanderers, part of the same eternal journey. The comet drifts outward still, silent, patient, timeless. It may never return. We may never see it again. But that is not sadness, for its gift was not in staying, but in passing, not in permanence, but in presence. And so we say farewell, not with loss, but with gratitude. Gratitude for the light it gave us, for the dreams it stirred, for the reminder that we are part of something vast and beautiful. Tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself drifting too, gently, quietly, endlessly, like a comet among the stars, carrying your own light, your own story, your own presence into the universe. For we are all wanderers, we are all brief, and yet we are all eternal too. The comet is gone, but its story remains softly, endlessly, forever. And so our journey drifts to a close. The comet has passed, the story is told, and the night sky grows quiet again. Here on Simply About Earth, we share these stories, gentle explorations of the cosmos, designed to soothe the mind, to inspire wonder, and to help you rest. Before you drift into dreams tonight, I sit to love to know where you are watching from, which country, which corner of our shared Earth. Leave a comment below, and let's sit see just how far across this planet our sky is shared. And if you sit like to join us again for more journeys like this, more quiet explorations of space, of Earth, of time itself, then gently press subscribe. It helps our little community of dreamers grow, one by one beneath the stars. Thank you for being here. Thank you for resting with us. And until we meet again, may your nights be calm, your dreams be vast, and your heart always full of wonder. Good night.